Hello, everybody. Good morning. Welcome to Pearls of Wisdom today with Katharina, with Suchada, and with Navasit. And so you have a question for me today.
Yes. So my question is, how does one life change if connected to the divine self?
Okay. The divine self is part of you. We have to understand that, like, you are not in that way God, but we are part of God. And in this way, or the divine or source or creator or whatever we want to call it. So the life force within us is a direct divine energy connected to the prime creator, to God or whatever, just like we have to use a word. And with your life energy, you are always connected to the divine. But unfortunately, most people are consciously not connected to the divine anymore, and they have split apart because we have personality, which personality or ego, whatever you want to call it. The personality, the word itself, is coming from the Latin root persona, and personare means talking through. Means talking through the mask. So the persona is actually a mask, you can say an avatar, for ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
So when we identify with the persona 100%, we kind of disconnect with the other part of who we truly are.
Mm-hmm.
And that will bring us a lot of problems.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we are completely connected to self, to who we truly are as a divine being, having a human experience, then we are in contact with that higher source all the time. And there are, in fact, no questions who we are, what we should do, what's going on. But once you separate from your divine source, from that, what you really are, you are very vulnerable, you're weak. And then there is when the question starts, and there is where fear starts, and there is where we fall down in consciousness deeper and deeper, because we lose the connection with that, what we really are.
Mm-hmm.
So I can just refer again to the consciousness levels that we talk so much about. And we can see that a lot of human beings are still in a consciousness of fear. And these people also generally expect negative things, and they're focused on negative things.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore, it happens to them. Remember that our nature is to be creative. We create our life.
Mm-hmm.
We create all the circumstances in our life based on our consciousness level.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, if the consciousness level is based in fear, that's what people attract. So if you're afraid of being robbed or raped or whatever, that is what you attract, because this is where your focus goes.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
So see, people who are completely connected with their divine self, we often call it higher self. It's not actually higher or lower, but just to make sure the word is understood. This connection lifts us out of a fear-based negative consciousness, because then we understand a lot of things that happen in life, and especially we also then know that we are not this body. So in a previous question, you asked me, why should somebody connect to the higher self? Well, I said you don't have to. But the thing is, we are, in fact, what we are is that what we can call the higher or divine self. That's who we truly are.
Mhm.
So you don't have to connect with it, you have to be it.
Ah, I see.
So once you lift your consciousness level to a certain positive frequency, you're automatically connected to the divine self.
Mhm.
And then the divine self will be that inspiration, intuition, that you can call it spirit guides, angels, whatever you want to call it, that help you to make a better life.
Mhm. Mhm.
So talking about happiness, how can people be happy? People who are not connected consciously and know who they are, they will never be happy, because the happiness they have is always depending on things.
Uh-huh.
I'm happy if he loves me. I'm happy if I have money. I'm happy if.
Mhm.
But if you're connected to the higher self, you are automatically manifesting a life that happiness is just a byproduct.
Mm.
It's not that happiness that is connected with things, but it's more like, you can say, a satisfaction, a serenity within you that is the base of everything that happened. You come to a point of acceptance,
Mhm.
and you're not depending on moods anymore.
Oh, you mean the emotional, the feeling?
Yeah.
Mm.
So see, people who are not aware of that, in a way, we are all connected to the higher self, otherwise we wouldn't be alive, because it's the life force,
Uh-huh.
but not consciously.
Ah.
And you can see also that negative people, their life force is much worse. The energy that is much lower than people who are standing there themselves and they are powerful. Fearful people are not powerful.
Mm.
Remember, I told you about one of my staff here. His first approach whenever he's coming, Mikua, means I'm afraid.
Mhm.
Every sentence he starts, more or less, comes like, I'm afraid to.
Mm.
When you start to observe people, you see that some people I see, some people I think. I know somebody who always said the problem is. So you can very clearly see what people are doing in the moment when they start the sentence, when you ask a question. So like somebody say, I see, that is connected with the eye, so you can see a truth. Or I hear you. You know, things like that are very significant once you start to observe.
Mhm.
So the higher self is always connected to you, but your ego might not be connected to the higher self. Let's maybe put it that way.
Mm.
Once you are conscious about that, what is happening, you know immediately if something is right or not. It is like it jumps on you, something that is negative or something that is not right. Even if there are nice people or whatever, but you just know, no, that's not it. Because you feel from the divine guidance that you have that if if other people are on a similar consciousness level, even sometimes when we talk about things, it sounds very similar. We talk about happiness, no, for example. And there are two kind of happiness. It's like I'm happy if you make me happy and all that kind of stuff. But there is another kind of happiness that is just underlying within you, that is always there because you know who you are. And then you also understand that, for example, life is not always sunshine. Then you understand that you're here for a purpose. Once you see yourself as a light soul, understand your connection to the divine, you can really start your work on the planet of being light for the others, of helping others to understand who they are. See, there are many so-called spiritual teachers who are telling you, like, for example, you have to do this, you have to do that, you have to meditate from 8 to 9 or from 3 o'clock in the morning or whatever. They have very bizarre rules sometimes. And if you do that for a certain time, you'll be enlightened. And I know many people, including myself, having followed such teachers for a while, it didn't work. It didn't work. The shift within to consciously connect with the higher self is often not connected with any exercise. You might have a moment of bliss or a moment of understanding, and then you get up and life is still the same. I see your wrinkles here, you're thinking, so what do you want to ask?
Actually, I just come up with one question about the happiness.
Yes.
So sometimes I feel happy when I help someone to be happy. So it's like underneath my ego, my satisfaction, right? So it's not a true happiness.
Yes, it is. It is a kind of a true happiness because, see, once you feel that you've done something within the, say, the spirit of the divine, you have that happiness, but it's not kind of this emotion. You know, for example, when I say you just won 10 millions in the lotto, that is a kind of whoa, wow, whoa, whoa. It's an emotion, you know. Then it comes down and it doesn't last. But the more you, for example, you help somebody to understand, because each time when you help somebody to understand something, to make them happy, you kind of claim a little bit of happiness back for yourself, because you do it with the motivation to help somebody and not of gaining money or whatever. Some people call this selfless actions, but I don't think that word is correct, because consider again what the self is. It is actually the action of self. But that does not mean we always have to kind of do good in that way to make people happy. I know that sometimes I have to make people very unhappy. Because when I need to tell them about illusions or about why they are sick, for example, and why they have created certain symptoms, and now they are in pain, they're not happy to accept that they have created this themselves. But still, it is a gift from the divine, because once this person can understand, maybe the consciousness level will go up. We have fallen so deep, and you can see that what is happening in the world is a very direct consequence of that we have lost the connection to our divine self. And again, why should we connect to the divine self? To get out of being a slave. Because if you are not connected with that which is bigger than your ego, you need to ask questions. And whom do you ask questions? Now see, the controllers, that they are very clever. They are absolutely masters of deception and delusion. Just look back into the movies. It's awesome what they can do. And how people, they dive into this emotional 1.5 whatever hour movie, and then they start even to identify themselves completely with hero or whatever person in that movie. And even you see that especially in children, who are much more easy to go into this kind of illusion. And what they feed them, these illusions that they feed them, are all to create that fear-based consciousness. Usually when children are born and when they are little, they are not very fearful. And then the parents come, oh, you have to be careful this, you have to be careful that, and so on. Our world has become very dangerous. And so you program already the little child of being fearful. And this is what sticks, because the parents are fearful too. Now see, that is what is happening now, is the liberation of the human spirit. That we don't buy into that illusion anymore. That we, instead of looking outside to ask questions to other egos, that we look inside to find within ourselves. So I said about meditation and gurus or whatever, they say you have to do this or that before. Sometimes you need to have a discipline for a while, like to do a meditation for a while or whatever, to get to an experience. But once you had that experience and once you learn something, you move on, you don't stay there. All the teachers are steps on a ladder. Once you have understood that lesson, you have to go. You have to move on. You have to live what you've learned. And we can still see that this is kind of to make merit or whatever in other religion, to spend money or to whatever do is like, okay, I've given my money, I've done merit, whatever, I feed the monks, whatever I did, now I'm okay. No, you're not. It's not about outside actions. And again, you can give money, you can help to build a temple, you can feed the monks. I'm not saying this is bad. Nothing is bad, it's just how you do it. You can feed the monks because you understand that this is their consciousness level and they need food. But you cannot do it even if they bless you and think now you are blessed, it's all you have to do. Now you just go back to your mundane life and be a being again who is not caring so much what I'm doing. It is like you really become conscious of what you are doing. So the only way to move forward is to connect to the self and also move away from people and situations that tend to control you. This is why I say often that one of the best methods to get out of that is break your habits.
Routine habit.
Yeah. And one of the easiest ways, start with food. Or just like if you are going every night to bed at 10 o'clock and get every morning out up at 7 o'clock or whatever, why don't you stay up once to 12? And you go out and you walk in the night. You experience the night. You experience the stars, the moon, the light of the night.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that gives you a different perspective.
Mm.
All of nature has a certain rhythm, but at one point we have to break the rhythm to have another experience. And you don't have to do that every day, but just do it once and go to somewhere. I love that on the beach. You know, I used to go to walk on the beach like 11 o'clock at night.
Wow.
In the sand, you know, barefoot along, I listened to the waves and the stars and everything. That was beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And see, this is why when in ancient cultures, they always had like a time that was not in the normal time. So for example, they had a new year or spring beginning or whatever it was, they had certain ceremonies that people prepared before, and in many actually cultures they were then dancing and also taking drugs or drinking alcohol to alter their state of consciousness. But this was done under the supervision of some elders or shamans or whatever who controlled the whole situation. Like drugs at that time, they were to help people to explode their boundaries, go into a different consciousness. It was like psychotherapy. For a few days, you just go completely out of your norm life that was boxed in. And this will give you the energy and the power to move on. So once in a while, they had these celebrations to call on spirit to be with them. And even at that time, very often men and women did not live together. That's when they had sex, they created their offsprings. And this was very important to get out of that norm, the time of creating something new. And this is something that our society has completely twisted, for example, with drugs and alcohol, that if you take away the sacredness, it becomes a drug that is bringing you down. If it becomes something habit, something daily, it becomes poison. We have like medicine, you know, when we talk about the medicine wheel, that people do certain celebration and maybe drink some medicine drinks. You can say anything, it can be even ayahuasca, whatever it is. You do that 1 or 2 times or within a time frame, and then you go out. And then it has a sacred purpose to cleanse you, to give you visions that will enhance your life or change your life. But people who take alcohol or drugs or smoke or whatever it is, it doesn't matter all the time. It becomes an addiction, and the sacredness within is taken out and it becomes poison. So a person who is connected with the self, with the divine within, knows exactly that there are certain times that you need to get out of the normal rhythm. And they have certain celebrations. Or you feel like for example, you say, I'm going for a retreat now. I feel I need it. Then you know you need it. Because that is the impulse that you get, because your divine self is guiding you. Now I need time out. I need to go away for a week or whatever and meditate.
Mhm.
And this is like when you are connected with this self, with this divine self, you become really you.
Mhm.
Your authentic you, what you have born, and all these hundreds of masks of way of behavior, of obey, of comply, or whatever, making compromises will fall away. So that's the only way that it really leads you out of this illusion of that duality that we live in. Polarity, we are living in polarity. I said that before because otherwise you could not distinguish anything, not recognize anything. But the duality that is, which is the curse of the world, is instead of breathing in, breathing out, light and dark, whatever we need is polarity, is good and bad. And there is good and bad. It's like fear. We have two different kinds of fear. One fear that is needed, that we can save our life and we're in dangerous situation, and the other fear as a program. And this is everywhere, like in duality, is the program is making us fearful so we cannot really unfold our power. Like just go and watch movies like Matrix and others that they show us very clearly what's going on. And the movie the video I sent you, the information of Saratoga Ocean about the split of the timelines. This is very impressive. And I just figured out the movie Inception. You know that one? You know, you go down, down, down. Very interesting. So we have created a place to experience, a matrix to experience where we are. And now parasitic entities have taken over our matrix and changed it. They were more clever, like really masters of illusion. So it is like on that matrix that we are now, they want to bring us to another matrix. And then in a way, insert us completely to this matrix, lower down because it's a fear-based matrix, till we lose ourselves completely and we cannot ascend anymore. This is a very, very interesting story. I did not really realize that. But I saw that something is going on. So I really recommend to go and find Saratoga Ocean on YouTube. She's still on YouTube, you know, that's the funny thing.
What was it?
Saratoga Ocean is her name.
Saratoga.
Saratoga. I will write it down, and you know, this is really very powerful information. And I always wonder sometime when I watch the movie like this, because I know that movies are made by the illusionists to tell us what they are doing actually with us in what we call real life. And I was wondering, I was watching that movie a few years ago, and I was really wondering what exactly is the purpose of that movie. And I have to find it. I have a DVD somewhere. So see, pay very much attention what is going on there. And of course, if they want to control us, whoever it is who want to control us and steal our energy, has to subdue us into fear.
I have a question. If they want to control us, why they have to review in the movie?
This is the law of free will. This is the law. This is a divine law because they need our consent. Now see, what is happening now will not work out because like this thing here has been done for many people without consent and without proper information. So this is the difficulty.
So it means that if we watch that movie, it means that we consent.
Not really yet, but they have showed us.
Okay.
So they have showed us. So if they start to implement it in physical life, you can remember, gosh, I saw that movie. And when you, especially when you realize that movies are made for that purpose, and then you can say no. If you say no, they have no right to do it.
Okay. I see.
So what is the higher self again, or the divine self, helps you to look through this illusion.
Okay.
Like, for example, when I get offers or whatever sometimes, or even people want to talk to me when I see their pictures, usually I cannot say that, it's a feeling, if I can work with somebody like that or if I cannot. Some people are really negative. You know, sometimes people are really sent by negative entities to destroy the beacons of light. I mean, I cannot say it differently. And very often what I feel is when I look at a picture of a person like that is like, somebody squeezes my throat. I feel that very strongly. Then I know, keep your fingers off, even if whatever sounds really exciting or whatever. But I have this like, I cannot breathe anymore. And this is very strong because I have experienced black magic attacks a couple times in my life. And this is usually how it started. But of course, sometimes I didn't know them. I had to learn it. And it was always when you're connected to a higher light energy, the dark energy cannot take over if you bring that in. It's also like, for example, the whole laughter. If you can laugh at that time, your energy rises up. But you also have to be careful. What I observed in groups like that, some people laugh only here, like, ah! They make only the sound, but the body doesn't laugh. And this is like usually a very high-pitched laugh that is just here. But if you really laugh, you have to get the belly. So one of the best things, in fact, is if you are really down and really bad things happen in your life, it's very useful and helpful to watch a good movie where you can laugh. You clear energy. But again, humor. A lot of humor is just making fun of somebody to the expense of somebody, to look down on somebody. This is not real humor. Like what I find very often, real humor and beautiful scenes are sometimes in animal movies that you can really laugh, or kind of you just watch them here, or you see how touching it is. For example, with I just recently watched a movie where, what was that, rhinoceros came to people and stuff like that. Really interesting interspecies connection. Or like a deer licking cat or something like that. You know, you can see things like that. There are a lot of beautiful animal movies out there. So that's what I do when I'm really down and I need an up somehow. I go and watch a movie or a clip like that. That's, it really helps me. And then I have that inner smile, you know, kind of that a really nice smile. So we need sometimes to have some tricks because the energy around sometimes is really bad. But again, remember, we have agreed, we have taken on this assignment to be here for a reason. So the best question at that time is always, what would my divine self do in this moment? Or an even easier question is, what would love do now? instead of fighting back. But sometimes I still fight back, you know. Sometimes fighting is fun. But anyway, it's not really satisfying for the long term, right? But generally, if you then go, you can laugh about yourself. I said, okay, I went into that trap again and I boxed back. It didn't bring me much. But this is really one of the best things to, some people are saying, oh, I watch a romantic movie with happy end and I feel very happy afterwards. But this is something that does not really last with me. For me, it's like animals are so pure, so absolutely innocent and not mean at all, you know. So I love to watch something like that. And then I can also find the gratitude again, the connection again, when I fall into remorse or anger, whatever it is, that really helped me to, yeah, find love again. And again, you know, love is not something that somebody else can give you. See, our whole relationships and everything is built on that. I find love because he or she loves me. No, because this kind of love is completely connected with expectation. So if he or she behaves in the wrong way, whatever, love's gone. And this is why generally the relationships don't work out, because of expectations, what the other person has to do to make me happy. It's kind of a contract you do when you get married. I make you happy and I try this and this and this, and you make me happy. Like I cook for you and I bring home the money or whatever, you know, kind of. It's a very difficult situation. If you have not find happiness within yourself, love within yourself, you will not find it outside. And this is again, why should I connect with the higher self? That's why. Because then you find happiness, you find satisfaction, you find serenity, peace within you. You don't need to find with others. And this is what the connection brings you when you become an extension of the higher self. Do you hear that? It's a helicopter coming over. Okay. So see, the work on yourself is really primary. And you can go, I had many teachers in my life, but I never had a lifelong guru. I never followed anybody for a long time. I go to a certain teacher, I learn from him or her, and then I integrate it in my life as good as I can. And every time when I'm ready for a new topic, it will find me. I don't have to go and look for it. It's like by whatever, you know, you might call it coincidence that I hear. Like I remember when I was that very first teacher that really kind of kicked my butt. I was in a event, and a lady approached me and asked me, do you know blah, blah, blah? I said, no, I have no idea. I said, you know, this guy is just coming now to town and he is a psychic and he's doing reading. And I was kind of, what is a psychic? What is a reading? You know, I have no idea. I was completely, and she explained to me and I was very intrigued. Okay, let's go. And she gave me the number of that woman and I called her, and that woman said, well, that's very interesting that you're calling right now. I actually just picked up my phone in my bedroom. Somebody canceled the reading and I was on the way to the office. At that time, we didn't have mobile phones. Went on the way to the office to look at the waiting list. I have about 20 people on the waiting list.
Oh.
I said, oh, wow. And she said, you know what? I kind of have a feeling that you just cut in here. That is the reading for you. I got it.
Wow.
So see, this is why the time was right. I was ready for this revelation that he gave me. And so it happened. And somebody had to call to cancel, and I had to go exactly in this, what is it, a minute, less than a minute of time to get that call in before Gisela give the reading to somebody else. See, this is how it works, and that is higher self, that is divine self. You have complete guidance, and everything around you will give you these opportunities that you need. But you can only connect to the higher self or divine self when you are ready to move out of fear. So some people are not ready yet. They are too deep buried in that fear-based consciousness. They cannot even understand the concept. So I think it's really worth to be connected with the higher self. Life is much better.
Yes.
But even for those who still cannot realize that they are connected, my question is, they connected already, right?
Otherwise, they wouldn't be alive.
Yeah, but they will live the life in the struggle.
Yes.
But divine self is taking care of them anyway, even in their struggleness.
Yeah, but their life is miserable. You know, because, you know, when do people wake up and start to, or when do they start to pray?
When they suffer a lot.
Exactly. Exactly. That's the point. And they suffer. I also was searching because at that time I was suffering. I was sick. So I was searching for answers. Why? And this is then the human nature in a way, that connection that start to why, and you have questions. And the more you ask and don't just believe what others say, the more and more you can rise up to that divine self. And most people I know, even this guy who was a psychic, he was half Native American, half I don't remember what his other background was. When he was young, they were playing, you know, with arrows. And an arrow hit his left eye. He lost his left eye.
Oh.
Yep. And he said, then look, my left eye, I look inside, my right eye, I look outside.
Oh.
So that was a spiritual experience. He was a psychic and he could help a lot of people with that. So we choose on a higher level, even if it's not conscious in your physical human level, accidents or suffering, to get this out, to rise the consciousness into higher consciousness. When the suffering is so bad that you don't know any other way anymore, that's when you start to pray. And pray is a first step. I told you before that praying is very often begging. Please God, give me this or that or whatever. And when people are still in a low consciousness, they ask about, give me money, give me a husband, give me a wife, give me this, give me that, you know. But we talked about that before. It comes to the point when you reach a consciousness level that is higher, that you say, God, please let me know what I need to know, and not ask for things anymore. So guide me, protect me, tell me what I need to know. And this will be the guidance through life, that we know at any point what we have to do, that we can discriminate what is good, what is bad in all levels for us. But again, you know, you're still human. It's still going up and down a little bit. And that's okay. It's still experience and adventure. right?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes.
Mhm.
Any other thing come out of this?
Not yet.
Not
I
yet.
Not
think
really.
yes.
Okay. Okay. So
On the topic.
Not in
yeah.
this
Okay.
way.
Yeah. You have to digest it and yeah, digest things first, and then I say again, I see you hear something that need to be first digested, and this is about the same as our food. We eat food, we need to digest it, and very often when people are completely overwhelmed and cannot take it anymore, that's when they create stomach problems, because I can still absolutely not digest anymore what's going on.
Mm.
So again, that is the language that also the divine self or the body, the interaction between our innate, our smart body, the divine, to give us messages.
Mm.
So if we are very careful and look at our symptoms and illness, whatever it is, and learn to understand, because every organ, everything has a very clear message.
Mm.
And once you understand, then it's good. You can do something. That's why healing, as long as you're not dead, or even some people are dead and come back, understand what it is. You can heal yourself. That's also part of the connection with the divine.
Mhm.
Unless you consciously say now, okay, it's time to go, and I leave that body and I go forward.
Mhm.
But then you're not afraid, you know. That's the good thing. Then you're not afraid. Then you know that you just leave that body behind, but your conscious being is not changed. It's still there, just not in a body.
Mm. Wow.
Okay, so that's for today. Thank you for your question. And our listeners, thank you for watching and listening. Please like and share our video, and we'll tune in next week again. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
you.